So, she's the Hydro Archon? But how did she know we were looking for her?
My dear people, rich and poor, those with cup in hand and those with nothing at all, raise your glasses in celebration. If you don't have one, then just raise your hand in lieu. As you can all see, 2 unfamiliar travelers have arrived in our nation. Come, let us make a toast in honor of this traveler and her companion who have journeyed here from distant lands.
Is she talking about us?
I've long heard of the turmoil and chaos you've left in your wake as you visited other nations. But I welcome you nevertheless. No, I have come to receive you personally. Fear is for insignificant cowards. I am a god, and I will never entertain the notion of such meaningless wariness. You can be rest assured. I see clearly your sincerity. Of course, seeking an audience with me is the most sensible thing to do. It will allow you to truly behold my power and witness my authority. Intelligent people always gather under the correct banner. I, Focalors, hereby welcome you to the nation of Hydro and acknowledge the value and significance of your trip. Now, you may rejoice in this.
Yeah, Paimon still can't believe it. Feels like we've only been here for a few minutes. But the Hydro Archon's entrance was, how should Paimon describe it? A little over the top? Miss Hydro Archon? How did you know we were coming?
I see. As Outlanders, you inevitably lack even some of the most basic understanding. Don't forget that even the gods can be divided into the mediocre and the excellent. I suppose it's only natural for you to be awestruck by my abilities. You had best stop and consider. Do you really have the noble qualities and etiquette necessary to communicate with a god? All it takes is a flick of my finger for me to know everything about you.
Whoa, talk about sounding high and mighty.
Oh? What's with these looks? Perhaps the welcoming ceremony still isn't enough? What else should I say then?
Is she waiting for us to start talking?
Yes, but don't get too excited now. My dear believers and spectators alike tend to get quite rowdy, and despite the noise, I've come to tolerate all their ruckus. You may consider this my reward to all of you. I have determined that there will be an epic duel between myself and this traveler from another land, just as you were hoping to see.
Now she wants to fight? Aren't we getting a little ahead of ourselves?
Are you not afraid? Might I remind you that this is a duel against the divine?
What are you trying to do, traveler? Provoking a god in front of her people?
Stand down, Clorend. I admire her bravery. Few have the courage to draw their sword against a god. She is obviously a true warrior. Unfortunately, people nowadays only crave to be thrilled, and a mere duel will not slake their thirst for excitement. You see. then, as the god of justice, I shall face this traveler in another kind of duel. A duel in court! Oh, we have reason to put you on trial. It's obvious, isn't it? According to Fontaine law, no one is permitted to release any flying objects within Fontaine city limits during the first 3 days of each month. You are clearly guilty of violating this law, no? Precisely! Now, if you two have no objections, then in the name of the Hydro Archon, I order your arrest. Great magician Lyney, my beloved citizen. I'll permit you to object, but how exactly do you plan to prove your claim?
It seems Lady Furina's charges no longer hold water.
Amusing. Very amusing, Lyney. Just the sort of unexpected twist that I enjoy. With you here, today's performance can finally be called complete.
Performance? You see all this as a performance?
In which case, consider the matter of your trial resolved. The god of justice will not bring charges against an innocent person. But when there are valid grounds, I will not only judge travelers from abroad, but even the gods of other lands. I look forward to seeing your upcoming performance at the Opera House, Mr. Lyney and Miss Lynette. That's enough for now. Toodaloo!
Unpredictable Archon Paimon's ever seen. You never even had a chance to ask her anything. But that's a problem for future Paimon. That whole scene just now was really...
And by the way, I should probably let you know, even though I would prefer not to, there's someone sitting up there in the VIP seats that has been striking a pose for quite a while now. I believe she is trying to give you a most elegant and impressive first impression. So I think you should take notice of her sooner rather than later, otherwise she may become flustered.
Huh? Oh, it's Furina, the Hydro Archon. Huh. She sure has a smug and satisfied look on her face. Guess she has no idea that you saw right through her act.
Very good. That is for the best. No need to pay her any more attention. We may now enjoy the show.
Huh? So is this what things are like between the Chief Justice and the Hydro Archon?
Huh? Yes, that's right. If this was just an accident, then we must investigate the cause. But if this was all part of some scheme, then those accountable will not escape the judgment of the God of Justice. I know the truth. I can see through the whole thing. Really, using such a shallow and obvious mystery as his finale. Did he really underestimate us that badly? I say that our powerful magician, Mr. Lyney, is now the prime suspect for the serial disappearances case. Oh, this all occurred during your magic show, did it not? The missing girl disappeared after being chosen, did she not? The deceased is one of your assistants, is he not? Now that I think about it, that whole speech about magicians making things disappear was nothing more than a provocation, a bald-faced challenge.
And that you are pressing charges?
I just think that I think it might be a little early to talk about formally pressing charges. I mean, of course, my dear people. But what excites me even more than the obvious truth before our eyes is the opponent I'll be facing. That's right. I mean you, Traveler. You'll support Lyney, won't you? After all, he was the one who helped you the first time we met. Then there's no problem at all. You know, the Traveler and I already had a duel the first time we met. But with Lyney's help, our little duel ended in a draw. But draws really are the most boring possible outcome. So, no more draws. Between the two of us, there must be a clear winner and loser. And what better place to hold such a riveting showdown and decide the true victor than here, on the grandest of stages, the Opera Epiclese? A day isn't that long. Let's see what kind of case this big-shot Outlander can build in such a short amount of time. I'm really quite looking forward to hearing it. Well now, don't you all look disappointed? Don't tell me that your investigation came up empty-handed. That was to be expected, of course. The guilty can never produce proof of their innocence. But don't let that stop you. I shall be terribly disappointed should you, my most anticipated foe, concede so easily. Why, of course I do. Allow me to take the first shot and break this case wide open. Mr. Lyney is clearly lying. There is no way you could have been in the box the whole time if you were to abduct Halsey and murder Cowell. In fact, I'd say you were hardly in that tunnel at all.
That is simply your hypothesis based on the presumption that I'm guilty.
Oh, is that so? And if I may ask, what did you hear while you were inside your box?
The roaring countdown of the crowd, of course. That's how I kept track of the time and built anticipation for the finale.
And you didn't hear anything else at all? Nothing that might leave an impression of any kind?
No, nothing.
I see. But when the count reached 30 seconds or so, there was a thud. One so loud that I believe practically everyone heard it. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to use the words of the magician himself. You never know what can happen in the blink of an eye. Indeed, it seems his alibi can also collapse in the blink of an eye. Of course, I have armed myself to do far more than smash your alibi. Confidence cannot go unfounded, and my foundations are rock solid. Tell me, aren't you and Lynette actually from the House of the Hearth?
The House of the Hearth?
Indeed. Then perhaps you could tell us everything that happened during that 1 minute. Your first priority is to prove yourself innocent, after all. I'm sure there is little that needs to be kept secret now. Unless your script already has holes in it. The Outlander is speechless. My, oh my, don't they look flabbergasted? Now comes the infighting and discord, I suppose. This was almost too easy. Good thing I made all those preparations. Seems the all-nighter I pulled last night is really paying off. knew you would stick to Mr. Lyney's defense even after knowing what you do now. You certainly have more professionalism than I thought. In that case, my dear audience, let's allow the joy of victory to steep for a little while longer.
Both parties have returned to their position. Therefore, Lady Furina may continue stating her reconstruction of the events.
That took long enough. Now then, if everyone would lend me their attention. At this stage, let's revisit that scene from Lyney's perspective. In other words, you believe that he knew nothing of the incident?
That's right!
My reasoning? Oh, well, your denial is very strident, I'll give you that. But what proof do you have to back your claims? Of course I do. If he had been in the magic box the whole time, how could he have not heard that sound? Why do you ask? You're saying that he wasn't? To think you'd use such logic. Well then, if it wasn't Lyney who committed the crimes, then who was it? Oh, is that so? How interesting! Let's hear your reasoning then. I see how it is. So this was all just a bluff. And here I thought you had something to show for it. But it seems you're still far from the truth. Excuse my interruption, dear opponents. But do you not see that the crowd is growing impatient? There is no greater sin in this opera house than an awkward delay in the performance. Oh, just a moment, please. I do hope you know how preposterous you sound at the moment. How could a person ever be transformed into water? This is reality we're talking about here, not some magic trick. Must we really? I should think that of anyone. Your friend Lyney already knows this truth very well. Magic tricks are ultimately just illusions and misdirection. But Halsey's disappearance is very real. We're talking about two completely different things. People really do come up with all sorts of harebrained schemes when at the end of their rope. The way I see it, your suggestion that we broaden the scope of our investigation is nothing but a tactic for stalling the trial.
The primordial sea. The note's contents also indicate that Cowell belonged to an organization that sells illegal drugs and that he had an accomplice.
Oh dear, what do I do? Even I think they sound convincing now. Have I falsely accused an innocent person? What a humiliation. Oh, I see. Well, how wonderfully comedic to have your own counterattack only to come back and wound you. Does this not clear all doubt? My dear citizens, my loyal audience, allow me to present my reasoning and bring this performance to a swift close. I think we've all seen enough now, and we have ample witnesses to my flawless reasoning. I believe this is indeed the finale. Now then, my good, noble Chief Justice, should we not, in your view, move...
I'm sorry. I'm the one who killed Cowell. I admit it.
What? Why?
Now then, Lady Furina, do you wish to speak against the defense's statements? Please answer the question, Lady Furina. Also, if I may add, the trial has not yet ended. As such, I request that the prosecution not leave the room before the proceedings have concluded.
What? Are you reading my mind now? No, I have no further arguments. I admit defeat. But really, could you at least have left me with some dignity?
Wow, look at that! She's like a deflated balloon now.
Right! Your discovery caused me to make a serious mistake, you know. Or was that not a discovery, but false evidence that you dare to bring before this court? Speak quickly, unless you want to earn yourself a one-way ticket to Coupon Town. I think there's no point in getting into the specifics right now. The audience doesn't even have the big picture yet. Even I'm struggling to remember some details of that case. Then, may I ask some questions? In my opinion, we primarily need to determine two things. One, do you have the evidence to back up your claims? That makes sense to me. Monsieur Neuvillette, I would consider this to be a reasonable investigative direction.
Why do I feel like Furina's acting a little differently today?
Maybe she's scared of embarrassing herself again?
Alternatively, she's become more diligent after charging an innocent citizen in the last trial.
My second question has to do with the ensuing duel. If the truth is indeed as you described, then why didn't Mr. Callis explain himself in court? If he had testified that a person had been dissolved, he could have at least mounted a defense.
Boss once told me that Demoiselle had already been selected as the next target of the serial disappearances case.
What? So, you mean to say, your father intended to die in the duelist's ring?
That's right.
Do you have any proof?
Of course. All you need is to ask his opponent, Clarand.
So, during the duel, did you believe that Callis was intending to die?
Yes, I did.
Since that's your testimony, I have no more questions. It appears there really are good grounds to reopen this case. It's all right, Monsieur Neuvillette. Given their confidence, I expect they've found the crucial evidence.
But the truth of it, Marcel, is that you've always been Vacher.
So that's it. Even the villains in opera performances rarely go that far. And with that, Marcel's motive has now been established. Guards, take Vacher away. Why are you looking at me? I had nothing to do with it! I don't know what happened there either! Hey, stop staring at me! My dearest citizens, did you really think we'd allow an incorrect verdict to be handed out in this court? Did you really believe that the judgment could be mistaken or be the result of some sort of random mishap? Don't tell me you thought even I had been blindsided by the oratrice's result.
But the way she looked just now, it was pretty obvious she had no idea what was going on.
However, given the state of things, I shall give you an explanation. Everything that just took place, including my supposed shock and bafflement, was a part of an elaborate performance, with every action meant to stir up drama and excitement. And, of course, for every performance there is a script. Everything has unfolded exactly as I expected from the very beginning. As the embodiment of the very concept of justice, the Oratrice shall never render an arbitrary judgment! If you thought Child had nothing to do with the serial disappearances case, it is only because you've been blinded by the superficial appearance of innocence. Everything he's done, not to mention the danger he poses, are beyond ordinary comprehension and completely unforgivable! All shall be revealed in time. You will come to understand my noble intentions, as well as the absolute correctness of the Oratrice's verdict. Now, having said that, although I hate to leave things hanging in suspense, it is now time for this performance to end. As the lead actress, I shall be the first to take my leave. Toodaloo!
So she chose to make her escape after all, did she?
So you're saying we shouldn't put much stock into what she just said?
She probably just put on that performance to save face. As for the truth, it's unlikely that she actually has any idea.